Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We're going to be diving into the latest around Arsenal. It's very close to Christmas. I think it's hours away from Christmas, but that doesn't really mean I won't be letting you know the latest around Arsenal Football Club. Now, first and foremost, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Manchester United, and a couple of other clubs are in talks to see that they can sign Joao Felix on a 6-month loan. Atletico Madrid have decided they will let him go to a club in the English Premier League as long as that club can pay 230k per week for the player in full wages. We're going to be diving into that, and also there is a transfer fee on that loan deal as well. Arsenal have triggered the release clause in Charlie Patino's contract, or the extension in Charlie Patino's contract. That is done and dusted. We'll be talking about William Saliba. Arsenal have offered him a new deal worth 120,000, and his representatives have actually turned it down. They want something bigger than that. And finally, we'll be talking about Marco Asensio. Liverpool and Arsenal now trying to bid for Marco Asensio. There is a feeling that he might leave in January. Real Madrid are quite not very sure if they're going to keep on using him. And Arsenal and Liverpool are very ready to swoop in and sign the Spanish international. Hit the like button for me. Let's get this video to 300 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. We're very close to 61,000 subscribers. And let's get into the content. So to begin off, Fabrizio Romano and Charles Watts have just confirmed that Charlie Patino has now extended his deal with Arsenal until 2025. There you can see Fabrizio Romano confirming that Arsenal have now triggered the option to extend Charlie Patino's contract. It will be valid until June 2025. As first called by Charles Watts, salary will be the same. Negotiations with his agents will take place in the next months, and of course they're trying to discuss a long-term deal with the agency as well. Okay, so I think with Charlie Patino, we have had a couple of scares here and there. Clubs like Manchester City, clubs like Liverpool, especially Barcelona, coming in trying to sign him. And I said with players like Patino, I'm still very much sure that we will actually get them over the line. We will get these deals done. And yesterday, the Gunnar blog was actually talking about it. And he said with Arsenal, they have nothing to fear. There is no panic in the dressing room. There is no panic with Edu and Mikel Arteta. They believe they have enough kind of goodwill to get these deals over the line. That includes Saka, Saliba, Benjamin White, and all these other players whose contracts are actually, to be extended. There is enough goodwill. There is enough feeling to believe that all these players will actually extend their deal. So Charlie Patino will be staying as an Arsenal player, not going to Barcelona, not going to Manchester City, and no leaving us for leaving us for Liverpool. I think I was talking about Charlie Patino last season, and I said this boy could be one of the next big things in football. And then yesterday, I said, if you look at him and you look at Gavi, in my opinion, this boy is the next Jude Bellingham. This boy is heavily better than Gavi, but it is how marketed, well marketed Gavi is. It is how the Spanish people believe in Gavi. But for me, in the next 2 or 3 years, Charlie Patino is going to be a huge talent for Arsenal. Probably will go out on a couple of loans. He's out on loan at Blackpool right now, but he's gonna go out on a couple of loans. But trust me, in the end, he is the ultimate deal. So Patino stays. Nothing changes. A new deal will be discussed later with his agents, and I'll be able to let you know when that happens. Now, the big story, guys, is about Joao Felix, and this is quite interesting because all the big outlets have actually spoken about it in the same way. So first and foremost, the information we have is that clubs are talking to Atletico Madrid. English Premier League clubs are talking to Atletico Madrid right now to see that they can actually get Joao Felix on a 6-month loan deal. Those clubs include Manchester United, those clubs include Liverpool, and most importantly, for the purposes of this podcast, those clubs include Arsenal as well. So this is how the deal would be structured, and these are the requirements that have been set forth by Atletico Madrid. Number one, it has to be a 6-month loan deal for the player without a buy option. Number 2, you have to pay 8 million euros as a loan fee. And then even after that, you will have to pay 230k per week, which the player earns in full wages. So Atletico Madrid will get their 8 million euros, and then they will not be paying any of the wages of the player. That is not all as well. Atletico Madrid are also saying that if he leaves in January, goes to another club in the Premier League, it has to be a club in the Premier League, okay? Those are the 3 conditions they've actually put forth. It has to be a club in the Premier League. They would prefer him to come to a club in the Premier League. Number 2, they want 8 million euros in terms of a transfer fee or a loan fee. You have to cover all the expenses in terms of salaries for the player. And then it has to be 6 months without an option or obligation to buy. Quite very interesting. And the end of all stories is the caption that Arsenal are really, really interested in doing the deal. Now, one thing I'm going to say here, guys, is that we've already had it from Fabrizio Romano yesterday that Arsenal are not willing to splash over 100 million euros to sign a player, to sign a striker, knowing that Gabriel Jesus is going to be back in contention by the end of February. So what we would love to do in this regard is sign a player, probably on loan for 6 months, let him come into the side, probably help us for 2 months or 3 months when Gabriel Jesus is not actually available, and when he comes back, takes over his spot, then the player can actually go back to his parent club. This is the perfect deal for Arsenal to do this January transfer. Guys, come on. 6 months without an obligation or option to buy. You know what that means? That means that you get Joao Felix for 8 million euros. Okay, we're going to talk about the salary, right? But you get him for 8 million euros for 6 months, right? He's a guy who can play anywhere on that front 3. He can play anywhere on that forward line. As a striker, as a false 9, as a left winger, as a right winger. He can play in as an inverted winger in all and both sides of the pitch. Okay? So, for me, this is the perfect deal to do. Obviously, we won't want to sign someone who actually takes over Gabriel Jesus' position. That is number 1. We want to keep Gabriel Jesus rest assured that the moment he comes back, he's going to be playing, full regular football. And I think he deserves it. Look, you look at what he's done. 10 goal involvements in 14 appearances for Arsenal. He absolutely deserves to be our main star. He absolutely deserves to be, our main number 9. Okay? So if you're not going to spend money, a short-term deal for Joao Felix, where on earth has anyone heard of such a beautiful, wonderful deal? Like, this is the best deal any club could do in January. And I think, look, it might not be Arsenal, it could be United, it could be PSG, it could be Bayern, but this is going to be a magnificent, this is a title decider. If Arsenal do this deal, it's a title decider. I've been watching Sky in the morning, Saturday Social, and the debate was, does Gabriel Jesus' injury actually impact Arsenal in terms of winning or not winning the title? And Mark Goldbridge said, yeah, his injury actually impacts where they're going to finish. And I think he's right. You lose a player like Gabriel Jesus, you lose the title. It has happened to us before, way back in 2012. Eduardo, one of our best strikers, one of the strikers that I've seen so consistent in an Arsenal jersey, he picked up that crazy, injury, broke his leg, and the title actually slipped away out of our hands. Okay, we have to learn from those situations. We have to learn from those days. And for me, the Joao Felix deal is the deal to do. But talk to me about the 230,000 pounds per week. That means we'll be paying him over $1 million per month in euros. We'll be giving him €1 million per month, and that is around 6 million euros we'll be paying to Joao Felix in the 6-month period that we'll be staying at Arsenal. So 6 million euros plus the 8 million euros we'll be paying to Atletico Madrid. That makes it 12 million euros for Joao Felix. Is it too much? I mean, in 12 million euros, you can get a player like Marcus Thuram for forever. Not forever, but on a 5-year deal. He becomes your guy. He becomes your player. He becomes a competitor to Edin Ketia and Gabriel Jesus for the next 5 years for 12 million euros because his contract is running down. And also I think Eintracht Frankfurt might think about selling Kolo Muani in January for around 10 to 12 million euros. Again, Kolo Muani, another supernatural, heavy, big talent on the planet. We've seen him at the World Cup. I think it's gonna get better, and after that World Cup display, I think any club right now that really thinks about getting a young striker, they should be thinking about Kolo Muani, in my opinion. So tell me what you think. We are interested. Talks are ongoing between us, United, Liverpool and Atletico Madrid to get the deal done, but is the 230k per week a no zone? Right? Does that 230k per week, which is actually in pounds, because it's around 280,000 euros per week, is that something that actually sends the deal in the no zone? Right? Talk to me about that in the comment section. I would really, really love to know what you think. But for me, Joao Felix on a 6-month loan deal, it's a no-brainer, guys. It's a no-brainer. I could be greedy, maybe, but it's a no-brainer, lads. It's a no-brainer. Maybe the only thing I disagree here with Atletico is why are they not even including an option to buy? I mean, options to buy are not as mandatory as obligations to buy. So it should be 8 million euros transfer fee or loan fee, and then plus an option to buy. I'm only saying. I'm not transfer expert. Okay. So moving on, William Saliba has been offered a new deal at Arsenal, and his representatives feel the deal is not actually representational or enough of what the player is actually going to become. So Arsenal have actually given the player a deal of worth 120,000 per week. His representatives actually want more money. They want around 150,000 pounds per week to 200,000 pounds per week. PSG are ready to make a move for the player should Arsenal fail to agree a deal with the Frenchman. I'm quite very, very scared here. 120k has been turned down. And I'm asking myself, Saliba, who has not been at this Arsenal side for very, very much long, wants more than 120,000. How about Saka? How much is Saka going to ask for? How much is Martinelli going to ask for? These boys have fought tooth and nail to see that Arsenal become the club it is today. They have scored goals. They have trained hard. They have, obliterated defenses. They've done everything it takes to take Arsenal back to that level that we actually deserve to be on. So William Saliba wants 200 and something per week. It's kind of ridiculous. Look, I understand the player and the hype around him. Maybe best centre back in the world right now, and in his age group, and all that. But that's a lot of money. Come on. That's a lot of money. I'm not saying Arsenal should not do whatever it takes to do the deal. We should absolutely do whatever it will take for us to do this deal. But listen to me. There is a but coming, okay? There is a but coming. But we shouldn't give William Saliba more than 150,000 per week. Same as Gabriel Martinelli and same as all these other players. Maybe Saka. Saka could be an exception for him to get like 200k or 190 or 108. We should do whatever it takes so that all these young boys stay below 200,000 per week. Otherwise, it's not looking very good. It's actually not looking very, very good. But anyway, Saliba wants that amount of money. And lastly, Arsenal, Liverpool, and a couple of other clubs are ready to bid for Marco Asensio in January. Now, his contract situation with Real Madrid is actually undefined, or it is defined, but it's quite uncertain. That is the word to use. Okay, it runs down in 2023. They love him. He loves the club. They would love to have him, but they don't want to extend his deal. Like, it makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. It's like us saying, we would love Saka to stay here, but we won't give him a new deal. As simple as that. I mean, it's a communication that the player wants to stay at Real Madrid. So he might stay at Real Madrid beyond they win that transfer window. But my gut tells me, my gut feeling is he will actually be leaving in the summer. So Arsenal want to scoop him up in January. Liverpool also want to scoop him up in January. Let's wait and see what's going to come out of there, because that is another very, very big story. Hit the like button for me. Let's get this one to 400 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. Football is back. Today in the evening, we're going to be doing our preview for Arsenal West Ham. Okay? I can't risk it for Christmas. I really can't risk it for Christmas. So we're going to be doing it tonight, talking about each and every aspect. What did you miss about the Premier League? What did you miss about Arsenal? Who did you miss? Which players are back? Which players are not back? We're going to be diving into that preview tonight at exactly 9:30 p.m. I'll be live at 9:30 p.m. talking about Arsenal West Ham. But of course, I'll be uploading a few other videos. The predicted lineup will be dropping tomorrow. The combined 11 will be dropping tomorrow as well. How to beat West Ham, that will be dropping tomorrow as well. Okay, so I'm kind of sorry. Much of the content about the World Cup is about our first game as we come back into action is going to drop on your Christmas Day. I'm so sorry, but there's nothing for me to do. Hit the like button. Speak to you very, very soon.